AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
When you think work, you think boots. You think boots, you think Ariat. You think grit, concrete, rain, and heat. And boots that never back down from any of it. You think comfort and durability that hold up on the job, off the clock, and every step in between. Because the day doesn't end when the job does. And from overtime to off-duty, you're thinking Ariat boots. Boots that show up, stand out, and always back you up. Now, it's time to stop thinking and start shopping. Find yours at Ariat.com or a retailer near you.
It is the eve of National Signing Day, and the USC Trojans still hold on to the number one class, and all indications are that they will ink the number one class in the 2026 cycle. So what's been the secret on how they've been able to retain all 34 of these commitments? Let's get into it. Trojan family, what's up, and welcome to the USC LAFB show. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. This is the LAFB network. Thank you, as always, for making this a part of your day. It's the eve, the night before. National Signing Day is tomorrow, finally, December 3rd, Wednesday. We've been talking about this day for a long time. I've been covering this recruiting. You've been with me throughout the entire thing, and it's been a ton of fun watching this 2026 class get built, and the excitement around it, and the excitement around the program and the future. And all this time, you had all the outside noises talking about they're not going to hold on to it. We've seen this story before. Look at all the flips that happened last year. You couldn't hang on to those top 5-star recruits. Well, barring anything crazy happening, they're going to hang on to all of them. And they're going to finish this class and potentially flip one to their side that we've talked about a bunch and finish with 35 commitments. With that other flip that I'm referencing, 21 blue chip prospects out of the 35 commitments. Most of those being from the great state of California. So what has changed? What has really been, why has this manufactured so well? We've talked a lot about Chad Bowden and his staff, and that is the main number one reason. There are obviously other factors. The coaching staff is fantastic. I think Lincoln Riley, whatever you think about him, he is a really good recruiter. He is highly respected from coast to coast in terms of recruiting and just in terms of being a coach. When you look at the rest of the coaching staff, I think Luke Heward is very underrated. Obviously, he was instrumental on Husan Longstreet last year, has been instrumental some in this year. Dennis Simmons, maybe one of the most underrated receiver coaches in college football. Don't think he gets the credit he deserves. Chad Savage, we knew when they hired him what a great recruiter is. I think he's a great football coach as well, but he is an elite recruiter. And so we knew when they hired him last December, that was a massive swing, and he already had such a footprint here in Southern California, as that was his region for Colorado State. Zach Hansen was already a good recruiter when he was a tight end coach. Now you move over to the offensive line. You see what a great offensive line coach he is, and you see what a great recruiter he is when you see the offensive line class that he's put together. Defensively, Coach Henne might be one of the best recruiters in all of college football. I know there was a lot of hype on him early. For whatever reason, a lot of people have kind of cooled. I don't think they should. I think he is a hell of a football coach and one of the best recruiters. And now that he has, the backing of a front office, kids didn't flip because of Henne. Kids committed because of Henne, and then ended up flipping because of other factors that USC just didn't have 365 days ago. When you think of those big name defensive linemen that had flipped previously, or Ty Jackson, the linebacker that ended up flipping, like Henne was the reason they committed. And then other factors and money and NIL that USC just wasn't up to par yet were the reason they flipped. So Henne is still one of the best. I think Coach Nua is a really underrated recruiter. Doug Belk, he finishes every year in the top 5, like in terms of defensive back recruiting. He's fantastic. Trevon Reed, we knew when he was hired from UCF, like, oh man, this guy's a motivator. This guy played in the league. This guy can recruit the heck out of anywhere. That's come to be true. And then Rob Ryan is just kind of like the wild card, right? The guy that has never really done recruiting, but he's Rob Ryan. Like, I think you asked Talanoa Ely, one of the main reasons why he's coming to SC, Rob Ryan's probably high on that list. And being able to play for that guy and just the character that he is, it's just a wild card to be able to have like an ace in your back pocket. So let's not move forward without first recognizing this is an elite coaching staff in terms of football development and certainly in terms of just recruiting acumen. And I didn't even mention Dan Lynn. I don't think he's known for his recruiting. Obviously more of an X's and O's schematic, kind of quieter guy, but he certainly is involved in these as well. So want to at least mention that. So let's give the coaching staff their credit for what they were able to do this year. But one of the main factors in this shift, driving, or I should say steering the ship, is Chad Bowden. And ESPN just dropped maybe one of the best articles I've read on USC in quite some time this morning. Shout out, it was written by Eli Letterman. I actually hadn't heard that name before, if I'm being honest. I don't know if he's on a different beat or whatnot, but fantastic article, really just diving into Chad Bowden and what he's done for this program in not even a calendar year. Remember, hired, I think, January 24th. So already missed last year's main winter transfer portal window, obviously missed all the recruiting, so came on late, and then he built his staff by kind of mid-February, and that's when things took off. It was last spring when we saw this thing just, whoa, like there is a massive shift in what USC is able to do in the recruiting ranks. And I think part of that shift was his commitment and the staff's, but him kind of really reiterating the commitment to recruiting California and planting the flag here for USC to continue being the flagship program and not letting any other else come in here into the backyard and take from them. There was, I can't remember where I heard this story. I'm sure many of you have heard it before, but during the Pete Carroll era, one of the things that made, him so great, besides everything, but one of the many things was his recruiting and his staff's recruiting in California and how dominant they were, and the basically Trojan wall, the fence around California that they built. And there was a story of, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Coach O telling it, Coach O. But anyway, so I don't remember exactly who it was about, but basically a coach from another team like showed up at LAX to come recruit a player. And like someone from USC's staff was like at LAX, like, what are you doing here? You got no shot here. This is our turf. Like we own this. Don't even bother leaving the airport. That's the attitude that has been restored with Chad Bowden being here. And the coaching staff has obviously taken that leaps and bounds further, but he has reignited that attitude that like, what are you doing here? Oregon, why? What are you doing here? Notre Dame, what are you doing? And obviously, they're still going to get some. You're not going to get everyone. But it's been a very quick turn in how they've been able to really land and resonate with not just Southern California, but California as a whole. And I think their working relationship, Chad and the staff, is fantastic. I see him he's at practice every single day, obviously. But he is just a workhorse, man. He is dove in headfirst in to Los Angeles, to USC, and has really rebuilt what this program means to this city, at least in terms of the recruiting side. One of the things that I found really interesting, and I knew this, but one of the things, and he said this, like he's going to be super honest. And I think I think in the past probably too, but I think nowadays, like, okay, I don't want to say nowadays, always, honesty is always the most important thing, right? But I think nowadays, because of all the information out there in terms of, other guys talk through social media and that, like, you can kind of sniff out BS pretty quickly, right? And so when a coach is trying to sell you on a program or sell you on all these great things, like, you can kind of sniff that out if it's not totally true.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Not totally accurate, or the vision doesn't match what the product is. And so Lincoln Riley, I think, has always been this too. He's a pretty straight shooter. I think doesn't sugarcoat things. I mean, you guys see in our press conferences, he's pretty just, whether you like it or not, he kind of just says it how it is. I think he's that way in recruiting, and we've seen that specifically with like offensive players and definitely with quarterbacks. But Chad Bowden has taken this like to the other level of how he's really approached just kind of getting these guys in the door and not just selling them this like grandiose vision that was kind of BS, right? So in being just kind of upfront and blunt, this is how he was able to land kind of guys from Talanoa Ely, great linebacker, to Brett Koleje. There's a quote here from Brett, who I think is going to be such a fantastic player. I can't wait for everyone to meet him. So this is quoting from this ESPN article. He said, "He called and basically told me, 'I'm drafting you,'" said Koleje. That's what he said. He's like, "I'm drafting you. You're not going to have to make a decision." I laughed when he said that, but I realized quickly that this dude is a bad MFer. High school coaches agreed with this sentiment, kind of continuing on. This is St. John Bosco's coach, Jason Negro, says, "Chad's a straight-up guy. He's identified their shortcomings, and he's going out and trying to address them pretty aggressively." Riley said the same thing. We're both really blunt. Sometimes you feel like you've worked with somebody longer than you actually have, and that's happened, I think, pretty quick. Obviously, their working relationship is extremely important in order to keep this thing going and keep it working. Continues on just kind of with going on this like honesty thing, and specifically with Mark Bowman, because that was like the biggest. That was the moment I think everyone realized, like, okay, this guy's for real. Because they had gotten they had flipped Jonas Williams. They had got, I think, Kenai Pepe was already committed at that time. So they had definitely gotten some nice commitments at that time. But Bowman was the one that was like never close to being with USC. Like, it was Georgia, Texas, Miami. Like, USC didn't even really like pursue him prior to that. And obviously he had just reclassified from 27 to 26. And he had no interest. His dad, Kirk, is quoted saying, "Frankly, we had to drag him out to that game. He didn't have a lot of interest. But once Chad got into place, everything changed for us." And here I think this was the kind of the most interesting thing. And this is where this honesty thing, and I'll get into that and we'll kind of wrap this up. He told Bowman and his family that USC would be good this year, 8 to 9 win team in 2025. But that he didn't expect the Trojans' rebuild to reach its full potential until 26 or 27. Over the next few months, Bowden, I keep saying Bowman or Bowden impressed upon the Bowmans how integral their son was to carry out that vision. Obviously, we know Bowman then ultimately committed in May to USC, shocking the recruiting world. Kirk Bowman saw Chad Bowden at the Iowa game and said, I said, Chad, everything you've told us is coming true. There's a level of reassurance with that as a parent. Like, this guy had a vision, and it's really happening here. So the fact that he kind of saw this thing as, this year's, it's an 8-9 win team. And guess what? They're one bad chicken breast away from probably being a 10-win team and in the college football playoff. So based on internal evaluations, this team either exceeded expectations or was right on par with what they sought out to do. As a fan, you might not agree with that, but that's the internal evaluation kind of what this season should have been. They carried that out. Hey, what's going on, LAFB family? Before we get to the show, got to tell you about my friends over at Sleeper. The number one sports app right now, and not just for season-long fantasy. They have daily game updates. They have a live chat that you can chat with other users. Plus, my favorite part is the daily fantasy feature, which is similar to a pick'em. You just choose 2 or more players across any sport. Choose more or less in whatever sport that may be. So if it's football, more or less touchdowns. For Jaden Mayava, if it's Mekhi Lemon, more or less receptions. If you're looking at the Dodgers, more or less home runs for Shohei Ohtani. Really easy, and you can win real money. Right now, when you go and make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code. You see it right there on the screen, USC LAFB. That's going to give you a match deposit bonus up to $100. You put in $100 to play with, you're going to get $100 free on top of that. You can put in 10, you get 10 free. Also, right now, our friends are offering a $20 free entry for any new signup. So if you go sign up today, you'll get both those offers. You get $20 right off the bat free to play with. Plus, use that promo code USCLAFB at sign up and you'll get that match bonus as well. Go to the App Store, Google Play, download the Sleeper app today, and tell them that the USC LAFB sent you. Now, let's get on to the show. Now, with the vision of who you're bringing in, you go on and CFP every year from here on out is what it has to be. But that kind of honesty is so important for these recruits to hear, right? Because when you're selling something, and I say this I've worked in sales jobs all the time. Like, there's multiple approaches to kind of how you really can sell. And I'm not an elite salesman by any means. So other people can probably say, okay, well, I would do this and that and do something differently. But there's selling something, trying to persuade someone that what you have is what they should want. And then there's selling in the means of what you have is what they need. And if you just show, look how great we are, look how great you can be if you come here, like, look how much fun this is. Like, why would you not want this? Like, where else would you rather be than here? Like, yeah, that's going to sell some people. But if you sell like it's air, like you have to have it. Like how he went with Brett Collier, like, I'm drafting you. You don't have an option. Like, this is where you are meant to be. And in order for us to go where we need to go, we need you. So it's kind of that reverse sales of like, you need us and we need you. A marriage, right? I make that comparison in recruiting all the time. And I think Chad Bowden has epitomized that in his approach and just his demeanor and his upbeatness and just all that personality that he has. And it's really resonated. And then you tack on that Jen Cohen and the program's absolute reassuredness and commitment to this program, not just with words, but financially. And somewhere in here it said that sources said that they've spent upwards of $9 million on this class. Then the sky's the limit. Because you've got the coaching staff, you've got the facilities coming in, you've got the money now, and then you've got the recruiting staff and personnel to run things like an NFL front office. I'll just go take care of business on the field, which they were able to do to their internal expectations this season, going 9-3, potentially 10-3 with the bowl win. So it was a really good article. I'll link it in the description. I think it was a really nice deep dive kind of in what Chad Bowden has meant to this staff. And it's no secret. Like, we've talked about it a ton, how important he's been, but it just kind of reiterates some of the stuff that we've talked about. And then you can see it from another source kind of stating it. Just the quality that he has brought in and the working relationship that he has added, and just the benefit that the coaching staff is able to have with someone like that. Because then they can recruit when they're allowed to recruit. Obviously, the relationship building is very important between them. But then they have someone else who's like, when they're worrying about the current team, they've got this other staff that's taking care of all the recruits, handling all their business. And you see it on game days and the recruit visits. Like, I'm watching out there when Chad's out with his staff and, everyone's hanging out and they're doing all the recruiting stuff on the field. So it's pretty powerful. And it's a reason why 34 recruits are standing pat, potentially one more tomorrow morning to be announced to be 35, and why this is the number one class in the nation. First USC number one class since 2007. Nearly 20 years. That's an omen for good things to come. And I believe, shout out our good buddy Rusty, find out Rusty, I believe he put out there that this is the first or only the second non-SEC number one recruiting class in a decade span. So I don't remember the exact number, but usually it's an SEC school that finishes number one. And SEC's taking that belt. So will be 21 blue chip players. 35 total, most likely. Impressive stuff. There's something special brewing here. So I just wanted to get on here. It's the eve before. More just excited. I'm excited to see what Bowden does in the transfer portal. I think they're going to get after it in the portal. Again, not by numbers, by quality. They're not going to go and get 30 players in the portal. I think it'll only be 10 to 15 if I'm being honest. We'll see what more transpires with guys entering from SC, but I really only see 10 to 15, but they're going to go aggressive for just blue chip guys. Guys that just fill an instant need, can come and start day one or compete with, some of these young guys, push them to the limit and go from there. So good stuff on the horizon, guys. I'll be on all day tomorrow. We've got a loaded, jam-packed schedule for National Signing Day. No presser. USC announced they've got stuff behind the scenes working. I don't know the exact reasoning, but I anticipate it's stuff to do with this recruiting class, getting guys signed. A lot of these guys are going to be there in January. They're going to, enroll early for the spring semester. So there's obviously some paperwork and stuff to do with that. And I think they're getting heavy in the portal already. Whatever can't really do a whole lot, whatever with tampering and whatever, but evaluation kind of thing. So, but I will be here all day. Tons of content coming for you guys. Live show tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Call-in show, Madman Tim. I'm going to join myself as well. So we'll be breaking down, taking your calls, talking about this historic recruiting class coming down the pipeline. So drop your comments below. Let me know how excited you are for the future of this program. Or if you're not excited, if you're still upset about something, drop in the comments below. Make sure that like and subscribe button helps us out a ton. You can become a member if you want to help us out financially. It's a huge gracias from me. If you do that, you get some member perks plus discount on all of our great custom designed LAFB merch. Speaking of merch, you can purchase that without becoming a member if you'd prefer. Got some great USC stuff you can check out there as well. So, family, I appreciate you. Let's keep this thing rolling. And as always, fight on.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.